The Grand Hall of Zerathia was unlike anything a human had ever seen. The walls shimmered with colors that seemed to flow and shift like liquid sunlight, and the air was filled with soft harmonic music that vibrated gently in the chest. Alien couples floated across the polished floor, their bodies glowing faintly, hands entwined as they laughed and whispered in a language of sounds and light. The room felt alive, as if every corner pulsed with life and energy. Humans were rare visitors here, and tonight they were a spectacle. But for me, it was something else entirely. I stood near the edge of the hall, gripping a small glass that felt heavier than it looked. Everyone else had found their partners, aliens with luminous eyes and elegant forms, humans who had been welcomed and paired with a gracious alien companion. And then there was me alone. I felt invisible, a shadow against the dazzling spectacle. Every glance I caught seemed to carry curiosity, pity, or polite indifference. I wasn't a diplomat, a scientist, or a hero. I was just human. I watched as couples twirled, laughed, and whispered secrets in ways I could not fully understand. Some moved as if weightless, others gliding like dancers in a dream, all perfectly matched. The sense of harmony in the hall only made my isolation feel heavier. I tried to focus on the beauty of the event. The glow of alien lights on polished floors, the melodic harmonies, the way colors seemed to bend in the air, but every sensation was tinged with loneliness. Then I saw her. She wasn't like the others. Her presence was different, magnetic, commanding, and strangely fragile all at once. She was tall, taller than most humans or aliens, with silver hair that floated around her like mist. Her skin was pale, almost translucent, and her eyes glowed a faint crimson, sharp yet soft, full of depth and unspoken stories. She moved through the crowd with a grace that was both deliberate and hypnotic, her every step drawing attention even without effort. And then she stopped. She was staring at me. Not at the crowd, not at the dancers, not at anyone else, just me. A shiver ran down my spine. I couldn't look away. Something about her gaze was unsettling yet inviting, as if she could see straight into the corners of my heart I had spent years hiding from even myself. My hands trembled slightly and I almost dropped my drink. Every instinct screamed to run, to hide among the other humans, to disappear, but I was rooted to the spot. Her lips curved into a small, almost imperceptible smile. And then, with a fluid motion that seemed more like gliding than walking, she began to approach me. The crowd around us seemed to blur and fade. The sound of laughter and music softened, leaving only the steady rhythm of my heartbeat. When she stopped in front of me, she tilted her head slightly, eyes glowing in a way that made my chest tighten. Her voice, soft yet commanding, broke the silence. "Dance with me, human," she said. I blinked. My mind refused to work. Dance with her? Me, a human who had spent hours standing awkwardly at the edge of the hall, watching others find their happiness, and yet there was something in her tone, something in the way her hand extended toward me that made me step forward. My body moved on its own, trembling yet willing, and I found myself taking her hand. Her skin was cold like moonlight, yet her touch carried a strange comfort, a warmth that settled deep inside me. The noise of the hall seemed to vanish entirely. In that moment, it was just us, two beings from completely different worlds drawn together by something neither of us could explain. As we moved to the center of the hall, my fear mingled with a spark of excitement. I didn't know her name. I didn't know her story. I didn't know why she wanted me. But for the first time that night, I felt seen, truly seen, and something deep in my chest, something I had thought long buried, began to stir. I could feel the heat rising to my cheeks as her hand rested lightly in mine. Her touch was strange, cold like marble yet alive, almost electric. My body felt both frozen and drawn toward her at the same time, as if some unseen force was tugging me forward. I glanced at her eyes again, glowing crimson, sharp and deep, and my heart skipped a beat. There was something in them, curiosity, loneliness, and a strange longing that I couldn't understand. The music shifted, a soft, flowing melody that seemed to respond to her movements. She led me to the center of the dance floor, her movements graceful and precise like she had done this countless times, yet with a delicacy that made it feel new. I stumbled once, almost tripping over my own feet, but she steadied me effortlessly, her hand firm yet gentle. I swallowed hard, my throat suddenly dry. Are you sure?" I asked, my voice trembling. She smiled softly, a slow, haunting smile that made my chest tighten. "I am always sure," she replied. Her words were simple, but they carried weight, a certainty that I lacked in myself. "Do not worry about what others see. Tonight it is just you and me." I nodded, unable to speak. The world around us blurred. Couples twirled and laughed, but they were nothing but background noise. Her gaze held me, and in it I saw something I had never seen before. Acceptance. Not the polite acceptance of a stranger or the superficial interest of someone curious, but real, quiet recognition. She saw me, a human, small and fragile in her vast alien world, and she had chosen to approach me anyway. Her movements were mesmerizing. She glided across the floor and I followed, trying to match her rhythm. I stumbled again and she laughed softly, a low musical sound that made my heart ache and swell at the same time. "You are clumsy," she said teasingly, but there was no malice, only warmth. "But that is why it is beautiful." Her words caught me off guard. Beauty me? For a moment I wanted to pull away, to retreat to the edge of the hall where it was safe, where no one could see my awkwardness. But her hand in mine held me there. It was as if she had woven an invisible thread of trust and courage around us, something stronger than the fear in my own chest. "Why me?" I whispered finally, unable to contain the question any longer. "There are so many others here. Why choose me?" She tilted her head, eyes glowing a little brighter. "Because you do not pretend," she said simply. "Others, they laugh, they dance, but they hide. You are not hiding. You are afraid, yes, but you are honest. That is rare." Her words sank into me like a stone thrown into still water. I had never thought of myself as brave or even noticeable. And yet here she was, a creature of centuries, a being far beyond my understanding, telling me that she saw me for who I truly was. We moved together. Slowly at first, then with a rhythm that began to feel natural. I was clumsy, yes, but she adjusted, guiding me with patient hands and subtle movements. Every step we took, every turn and sway, felt like a conversation without words. I could feel her pulse, steady and calm, while mine raced uncontrollably. Her presence was overwhelming, yet comforting. Terrifying, yet safe. "Do you always do this?" I asked, voice barely above a whisper. "Choose humans?" She shook her head, her silver hair catching the light like flowing water. "No, humans frighten me. Most are too fragile, too quick to break. But you are different. You carry a kind of strength I haven't felt in centuries." I felt my chest swell with something I hadn't expected. Pride, hope, and a strange courage. Maybe it was true I was small and fragile in this alien world. But maybe in some way I was enough. And as she held my hand, guiding me in the dance, I realized something even more important. Perhaps we were enough for each other. The music swelled, the lights around us danced, and for the first time in the grand hall of Zarathia, I felt alive. Not just noticed, not just seen, but wanted. The music shifted again, slower this time, a soft rhythm that seemed to echo inside my chest. Her hand in mine was warm now, steady, and I could feel her pulse, faint but present, like the quiet heartbeat of the universe. We moved together in a way that made no sense to me. Her steps were fluid, effortless while I stumbled and faltered, but somehow she guided me without words, her presence shaping every motion. I felt nervous. My mind raced with doubts. What am I doing here? Why is she even dancing with me? Every instinct screamed that someone like her, a creature so beautiful, so otherworldly, would never truly care about a human like me. But her touch, her steady gaze, silenced all those doubts. "You move like a human," she said softly, her lips barely brushing my ear, sending shivers down my spine. Awkward, imperfect, and but real. That is rare. Her words startled me. Real. I had spent years hiding behind a careful mask of politeness, trying to fit into a world that wasn't made for me, and here she was calling me real, as if seeing through every layer I had built. My chest tightened and I swallowed hard. I don't know what to say, I admitted, my voice trembling. I wasn't used to being seen like this, to being noticed in a way that mattered. I'm not like them, not like anyone here." She laughed softly, a sound that was melodic and haunting, like a song I had never heard but suddenly understood. "You are exactly what I am looking for," she said, her crimson eyes locking onto mine. "I have watched centuries pass, humans rise and fall, and yet, you make me feel alive." Alive. The word hit me harder than I expected. I had always thought that humans were fleeting, fragile, powerless. And yet here was this timeless creature claiming that I, a simple human, could make her feel something she hadn't felt in centuries. My heart raced, not with fear, but with a strange thrill, a warmth that spread through me like sunlight breaking through clouds. As we continued to dance, the world around us seemed to fade. Couples floated past, laughter and conversation blurred into a soft hum, and the lights dimmed around the edges, leaving only her and me in the center of the grand hall. Every glance she gave me, every subtle tilt of her head, every brush of her hand against mine felt deliberate, intimate. I felt my walls crumbling, the careful self I had built for years falling away under the weight of her gaze. "Why me?" I whispered again, my voice almost lost in the music. "Why not someone else?" Her eyes softened, glimmering like distant stars. "Because you do not pretend. You are afraid, yes, but you are honest. Others hide behind masks, but you are real. And I am tired of centuries of masks." I didn't know what to say. The words were too heavy, too beautiful, too strange to be true. I looked into her eyes and saw centuries of loneliness, battles, and nights that had no end. And yet in that moment she trusted me, chose me, and let herself be vulnerable. We moved closer, our steps sinking, our breaths mingling, the warmth of her presence seeping into me. I could feel her heartbeat through her hand, slow and steady, a contrast to the frantic rhythm of my own. Every stumble, every awkward movement she adjusted without breaking the flow, her patience and care grounding me. "You make me human again," she whispered softly, and the word struck me like a lightning bolt. Human. Me. A human making her feel human again. The thought was overwhelming, beautiful, terrifying, and somehow impossibly it made me feel worthy. For the first time I understood that this dance was more than just movement. It was a conversation of souls, an exchange of trust, courage, and longing. In the center of the alien grand hall, under lights that no human eyes were meant to see, we were not human and alien. We were just two beings, imperfect, real, and alive. And in that imperfect, fragile, fleeting moment, I felt a spark of something eternal. The music softened further, a gentle, almost mournful tune that seemed to wrap around us. Her hand remained in mine, steady and warm, but her eyes held a new depth, something I couldn't quite place at first. There was sadness there, and yet also hope, a fragile spark that made my chest ache. I realized with a sudden pang that this dance was not just a fleeting moment of curiosity for her. It was something more, something real. She leaned slightly closer, and I could feel her cold breath against my ear. "I don't belong here," she whispered, her voice carrying a weight that made my heart tighten. "Not really. Creatures like me, we are cursed to drift through time, to watch and not touch, to feel and never have." Her words shocked me. I had always thought of vampires as legends, myths told to scare children, but here she was, living and breathing before me. And yet as she spoke, vulnerability seeped into her tone. "I have lived centuries," she continued, "seen empires rise and fall, watched humans fight and die, and still I have never felt this." I swallowed hard, my throat dry. The world around us seemed to vanish again, leaving only her warmth, and the weight of her words. I wanted to reach out, to hold her, to tell her that it was okay, that she could trust me, but I feared that if I moved too quickly I might shatter the fragile moment we had found. I don't understand," I admitted, my voice small, almost a whisper. Why me?
Why now?"
Her crimson eyes softened, glimmering with a mixture of centuries-old loneliness and a rare, raw honesty. "Because," she said slowly, letting each word hang between us like a delicate thread, "when I saw you, something inside me stirred, something I thought was dead. You made me feel human again. Human." The word reverberated in my mind. She, a timeless being, a predator who had lived through centuries, felt human because of me. The thought was both exhilarating and terrifying. I didn't know if I was capable of such power, such impact. I was just human. And yet, she was telling me that I mattered, that I had awakened something in her that even centuries couldn't silence. I don't know what to say," I murmured, my voice trembling. I'm not special." She shook her head gently, silver hair brushing against my arm like liquid light. "You are human. More than you know. You have courage even if you do not see it. You have honesty and kindness and a strength that most creatures, mortal or immortal, would envy. And for once I am not alone with my feelings." Her hand squeezed mine lightly, a reassurance and a connection that made my chest swell with warmth. "Do not fear what is happening. Do not doubt it. It is real even if it seems impossible. You have touched me in ways I have never allowed, and I am grateful for it. I felt my heart surge with a mix of hope and fear. She was centuries older, more powerful, more experienced, and yet she had chosen to reveal herself to me, to let me in. The weight of that choice made me feel both small and immense at the same time. I want to understand, I whispered finally. I want to be here with you, even if I don't know what comes next. Her lips curved into the faintest smile, radiant yet tinged with sadness. Then that is enough, she said, and I felt a shiver of relief pass through me. For tonight there is only this dance, this moment, this truth, and that is all that matters. As we moved together, the world around us faded entirely. The other couples, the glowing lights, the music, all of it became a blur. It was just us, a human and an alien vampire. Two souls connecting across centuries, across worlds, across everything that should have kept us apart. And in that fragile, fleeting, impossibly perfect moment, I realized something extraordinary. For the first time in my life, I was not afraid of being seen. For the first time, I felt that I belonged, even if only for this night, even if only for this dance. And she, the vampire who had haunted my dreams without my knowing, felt human again because of me. The dance continued, slower now, as if the music itself had softened to match the rhythm of our hearts. I could feel every movement, every subtle motion, and it terrified me. Every second I spent in her presence made me realize how fragile this moment was, how unlikely and how easily it could vanish. I had never felt so alive, and I had never been so afraid of losing it. Her eyes were fixed on me, glowing softly in the dim lights of the grand hall. There was an intensity in them, a depth that made me feel naked in the most beautiful, terrifying way. I wanted to reach out to say something that would capture everything I felt, but the words failed me. Fear gripped my chest. What if she regrets this? What if she leaves and I'm left alone again like always? I stumbled slightly and she caught me instantly. Her hands were steady, reassuring, and her touch sent warmth through me despite the chill that radiated from her skin. Do not falter, human, she whispered, her voice a gentle caress. I am here. I am with you. And yet the doubt lingered, gnawing at the edges of my mind. But what if this is temporary? I finally asked, my voice small and shaky. What if you leave when the night ends? What if I'm just a passing amusement to someone like you? Her eyes softened, glimmering with a strange mixture of sadness and resolve. She tilted her head, brushing a silver strand of hair behind her ear. Yes, she admitted. I am a creature apart from your world. I cannot deny that my kind is different. But the feelings I have for you tonight, they are real. That is not temporary. Her words should have reassured me, yet my mind refused to accept them. How could this be real? I am human. I am small. I am nothing in comparison to her. The insecurities I had carried all my life rose like a tide, threatening to drown the fragile hope she had ignited. Sensing my unease, she leaned closer, her forehead almost touching mine. Her cold breath brushed against my skin, and yet it felt comforting. Do not let fear blind you, she whispered. Fear makes you hesitate. It makes you question everything that is true. But what we feel is true. You only need to trust it. I closed my eyes for a moment, trying to absorb her words, trying to let them settle in my heart. It was hard to believe, hard to accept that someone so powerful, so eternal, could care for me, a mere human. But when I opened my eyes, I saw the truth reflected in hers. She was sincere. She was vulnerable. She had chosen me despite every reason not to. I want to trust you, I said finally, my voice trembling. I really do. But I've been alone so long. I don't know if I can believe it's real. Her smile was soft, sad, and beautiful all at once. Then take my hand, she said, and let me show you that it is. Not tomorrow. Not in some distant future. Right now. This moment is ours, human, if you let it be. I hesitated, my fingers brushing against hers, then slowly, almost reluctantly, I intertwined my hand with hers. The warmth of her touch spread through me, dissolving some of the fear, some of the doubt. Her presence was steady, unwavering, and it made me feel braver than I had ever felt in my life. We moved again, slowly, deliberately, letting the music guide us. Every misstep I made, she corrected with patience. Every faltering glance she met with reassurance. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, the fear in my heart began to fade. For the first time, I realized that courage wasn't the absence of fear. Courage was stepping forward even when the outcome was uncertain, even when my heart threatened to break. And tonight, in her arms, I chose to be brave. We danced, two unlikely beings in a world that seemed impossible. And in that fragile, fleeting moment, I felt a bond stronger than any I had ever known. The grand hall had emptied around us, yet the lights continued to shimmer, casting soft glows that reflected off her silver hair and my own trembling face. For a moment, it felt as if time had stopped, the world beyond the hall fading into shadows. Only the music lingered, a soft hum beneath the quiet rhythm of our hearts. We were alone, yet together, two beings from completely different worlds sharing a fragile, fleeting connection that neither of us could ignore. Her eyes never left mine, glowing faintly crimson, full of unspoken thoughts and emotions. I felt exposed, vulnerable in a way I had never experienced before. Yet it wasn't fear I felt, it was something far more powerful. Trust. She had chosen me. In a room full of creatures more powerful, more beautiful, more eternal, she had chosen to dance with me, a simple human. The weight of that truth made my chest ache with gratitude and awe. "I've seen centuries pass," she whispered, her voice soft, almost fragile. "Empires rise, civilizations fall, people love and lose, and yet never have I felt this." I swallowed hard, unsure how to respond. "This feeling?" I asked quietly, afraid to name it aloud, afraid that words might shatter what we had found. "Yes," she replied, stepping closer, her hand brushing against my cheek. The touch was cold, but it carried a warmth I could not explain. "This connection, trust, life, you remind me that even a fleeting moment can matter. Even a fragile human life can awaken what has been lost in centuries." Her words struck me with a force I had not anticipated. I had always considered myself insignificant, a mere observer in the vast, incomprehensible universe. And yet here she was, centuries old and untouchable, saying that I, simply I, had reminded her of something long forgotten. I felt my heart swell with a mix of awe, fear, and hope. I don't know what to say," I murmured, my voice breaking slightly. "I'm just human, ordinary. I don't have centuries of experience or power or anything remarkable." She smiled softly, her eyes glimmering with emotion. "That is exactly why you are remarkable. Ordinary does not mean insignificant. Vulnerable does not mean weak. You feel, you hesitate, you doubt, but you also care, you try. You exist fully in ways that I have forgotten how to." Her words, simple yet profound, made me realize how little I had ever believed in my own worth. And yet she had seen me, truly seen me, and it was enough. The thought was almost overwhelming, and tears threatened to spill from my eyes. She noticed immediately, brushing a thumb gently across my cheek, stopping the escape of emotion with a delicate touch. "You are human," she said softly, "and that is beautiful. Fragile, fleeting, mortal, and yet you shine. And tonight, you shine for me." I felt a warmth spread through me, a courage I had never known. In her presence, I was not small. I was not invisible. I was alive, seen, and valued. The fear of being alone, of being unnoticed, faded with every heartbeat, replaced by a fragile, fragile hope. She leaned even closer, her forehead resting lightly against mine. "We have only this moment," she murmured. "But it is enough. It is ours, if we choose it." I closed my eyes, letting the music, the lights, her presence, and the gravity of her words wash over me. For the first time, I understood the beauty of a fleeting connection, the power of being chosen, of being truly seen by another soul. And in that quiet, impossible, breathtaking moment, I realized something extraordinary. I did not need to understand eternity. I did not need to know the future. All that mattered was now, this fragile, luminous now in her arms, where the universe had inexplicably, beautifully, allowed our worlds to collide. The music had faded completely, leaving only the soft hum of the glowing lights and the distant whispers of the grand hall. We stood in the center of the floor, hand in hand, hearts beating in rhythm with each other. The room had emptied of other dancers, leaving only us, two beings from entirely different worlds, sharing a fragile, impossible moment. I realized then how unlikely this was, how improbable that an ordinary human like me could connect with a creature of centuries, a vampire of legend and power. And yet here we were. Her eyes, glowing faintly red, searched mine as if reading the deepest parts of my soul. "Do you understand now?" she whispered. "Even in a world that doesn't wait for you, someone can see you, truly see you. I felt tears sting my eyes. I nodded, but words failed me. How could I explain what it felt like to be chosen, to be wanted, to be seen by someone so extraordinary? All I could do was squeeze her hand tighter, feeling the pulse beneath her skin, a delicate rhythm that seemed impossibly alive. I'll remember this, I said finally, my voice breaking. I'll remember you. I'll remember us. She smiled, a radiant, fragile smile that carried centuries of loneliness and longing. Then it will be enough, she replied. This night is ours. Not forever, not tomorrow, but now, and that is all that matters. Her words settled over me like a warm light, a sense of peace I had never known. All the doubts, all the fears, all the insecurities I had carried for so long melted away in her presence. I realized that this connection, this bond, didn't need to last centuries to matter. Its power was in the moment, in the truth we shared, in the honesty of our hearts. She stepped closer, her forehead brushing gently against mine, cold and yet electrifying. I have walked through centuries of nights, human, she murmured, watching others live, love, and fade away. I thought I had forgotten how it felt to care for someone beyond myself, but you have reminded me. Her words hit me like a gentle storm. I had never imagined that a simple human, a fragile life, could make someone of her stature and power feel something so profound. And yet she did. I felt a strange swelling in my chest, a mix of pride, love, and awe. For the first time, I understood what it meant to matter, truly matter, to someone who could command centuries and worlds. I don't care that you're different, I said, voice steady despite the tremor in my chest. I want to be here with you. Right now. That's enough for me. Her eyes softened, shining with an emotion I couldn't name. Then you are brave, human. Braver than many who live lifetimes. And for that, I will cherish you this moment as long as I breathe. She leaned closer, and I felt the brush of her lips against my forehead, a gentle, lingering touch that carried centuries of loneliness, longing, and hope. I closed my eyes, savoring it, letting it fill me completely. In that touch, I felt time pause, the impossible become possible, and the world outside the hall disappear entirely. We stayed like that for a long while, either speaking, simply feeling the presence of the other. The grand hall was vast, glowing, alive, yet it felt like a private world just for us. A human and an alien vampire, two unlikely souls, had found a connection strong enough to bridge the gap between worlds, lifetimes, and fears. And when we finally stepped away from the center of the floor, hands still intertwined, we knew something unspoken but undeniable, that we had found each other in a way that defied reason, expectation, and even reality. That night would live forever in both of us, a moment of courage, trust, and impossible love. Even as the hall emptied, even as time moved forward, I carried her warmth, her presence, her trust, and the knowledge that I had been seen, truly seen, and for a human like me, that was everything. We walked out together, stepping into a world that might never understand our connection, and yet it didn't matter. Because we had discovered something far greater than acceptance, far stronger than fear. We had discovered each other, and that, I realized, was enough.